Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely fantabulous experts the world over with all sorts of backgrounds. We've had a White House doctor, we've had other physicians, psychiatrists, healers, New York Times bestsellers, even one Delta Force operator, but all walks of life. An Australian actor, if you've got Amazon Prime, check out Sea Patrol, Captain Mike Flynn. Oh, he was fun to have on. But these folks have gone through something, not just the usual unique life journey that we're all individually on. They've also gone through some sort of a transformative experience, and they've turned around and decided to help others. Today, coming to us from Preston, Idaho, no exception to this, is Jill Hart. She's phenomenal. She's a coach of coaches. She loves helping all different types of coaches, whether it's life, health, transformation coaches. She's a show host herself. She's a podcast trainer or podcast coach. So if you need to get up and running with that, you want to check in with her. She's wildly intuitive. She's comfortable in her own skin. And with that, I'd like to welcome Jill to the show. Welcome to Angels, Positivity, and Love.
Thank you, Michael. It's really a pleasure to be here and join you for this episode.
It's good to see you again,
It's
too.
so much fun on the first one we did on my show. Really
Yes,
enjoyed
and
it.
I should say, yes, she was a very gracious host. She had me on as a guest. Check that episode out, please. And also like, subscribe, share, and comment while you're here. Okay, Jill, let's do the quintessential big picture eternal question. Mankind has only been asking this for thousands of years. What's everything about? What's the fabric of the universe? Is it love? What's your conclusion so far as you're on your journey now?
That it's all about now.
Ooh, okay, but you're gonna have to talk a little more than that, so you're not off the
Okay.
hook. Okay.
So, in fact, I just wrote a post about this over on Substack, but we only exist in the now. There is no past, there is no future, and we always have the opportunity in the now we're experiencing to change both what we experienced as now in what we call the past, because we can remember it, or we can reimagine a different now that we will experience now.
I love it. I think Seth,
Work your mind, yeah.
1970s. Yeah, the light being Seth, Jane Roberts talked about that there's no limits when you look back in time. It's not the way you think it is because it's not about thinking. Okay, talk to us about compassion, thinking, ego, or love, or kindness. Pick one of those, and if you could run with it.
Okay, we can talk about love and ego both together, because to me, love is body centered and ego is head centered. And it's the combination of bringing them both into alignment, which is the awakening that I believe is happening right now. People are becoming more aware of the need to integrate both of those together so that they can experience now in a way that not only makes themselves feel more centered, but really centers the whole world, because we are all connected. We're not like individual beings. We are a collective experiencing a collective now individually. It has to do with source, which is love. It can't help but love itself. So even things that you disagree with, or your ego is saying, screaming at you, no, 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 you should have this position. You don't have to have that position. You can just be in the cocoon of love. And we were talking a little bit about breathing, and you have to encourage people to breathe through their mouths, because we're trained to breathe through your nose to stimulate your brain. In fact, if you breathe through one nostril or the other, you can it it works on the different sides of your brain as far as stimulating it. So if you're feeling really emotional in a situation and you want to not feel like you're going to cry, you can plug one side of your nostril and just breathe through the other one. And forgive me, I can't remember which one is which, but it stimulates the thought planning side of your brain. And then if you really need to like focus on a test or something, you do the opposite.
Hmm. I love this.
So
I love this. Okay. So talk to us about this global slipstream of consciousness or love or awareness, whatever you want to call it. And then there's also a global slipstream of unconsciousness thinking, whatever you want to call that. Thinking is not love. We could call it unlove, but ego blocks love, period. Pulls you out of the slipstream. And the best example I could give is Christmas Carol, that 79-page book at the beginning of the story, and we all could be down on or negative about Old Man Scrooge. He was dental floss at the start of that movie or the book. And by the end of the story, we forget that he's the greatest joy bringer, still does great business. And you'd cross the street to go chat with him. His field, his energetic field was fantastic. You felt comfortable in his presence. And yet, that's all of us any given day with the whole ebb and flow of between here and here. Talk to us more about this because you're really eloquent about the topic.
I, I it has to do with, we're all bits of the same fabric. We are all pieces of the same entity, if it is an entity, and I don't know. But in my consciousness, I like to explore the idea that we are, I can explain it this way. I have two ways of explaining it. One, we are a collective individually of cells, and cells are in and of themselves living entities. I'm not convinced that they don't also have a consciousness. So perhaps we are just those collectives. We are the individual cells of a larger collective, which would be like the God consciousness, or and I believe that we're all aware of this subconsciously. Like when we go to sleep, we tie into that. And the people that are more in tune with that whole idea, they can bring their dreams back. You can talk to a variety of people, and some people will remember their dreams, and some people are like, nah, I never dream. Well, they do dream. They just have put up a mental block against bringing that information forward with them versus just leaving it in their sleep state. And some people, they have trouble sleeping because they're blocking it so much that they cause themselves not to allow themselves to actually get into that state of flow with source. So they're not open to getting the messages that they really need to get, the downloads we need every night to continue to function. And I think the more open we are to allowing source to just download into our subconscious so that it can seep into our conscious actions, because what you think about comes about. It's the whole law of attraction stuff, that if you just boil it down to whatever your thoughts are, you're going to look for a bias to recognize it coming into your reality that you're experiencing. So you can change your reality simply by changing what you think about what's happening. You can have a good experience, you can have a bad experience. Nothing exists and everything exists. Does that make sense to you?
Wayne Dyer had a great quote. You change the way you I forget the exact quote. I have it actually on a pad that I was going to pull out in a little bit. So I'll read that in a little bit. But he has that classic quote that we've said it on this show before, at least 2 or 3 times this year already. Okay, talk to us though about this concept of you can steer your boat much more than you think. It's not that the storms are happening to you. It's not life happening to you. Everything's happening for you. Again, talk to us a little bit more about that.
Well, when you're we call it manifesting. The manifesting is just imagining a different reality for yourself. And then you'll witness it coming into being. And some people who are really good manifestors, like I consider myself a pretty good manifester, because I look for the experiences that are leading up to the thing that I want to manifest. And sometimes you get surprises, and if you're open to the possibilities, I think you're much more likely to see the things that you're wanting. And the reverse is true also. We're manifesting all the time, but if we focus on things that are not going the way we want them to go, or things that could cause our minds to like get all jumbled up, and news is really good at this. It's like there's a group of people, there's a collective consciousness that wants reality to go in a way that benefits them. And they have a lot of resources, so they push this at everyone else in order to get them to work their consciousness into this magic collective to push us in a direction. But I think we have the power as individuals to move it a different way. We don't have to go the way that it's easy. It's like, in a way, you have to kind of swim against the current, because they know what they're doing. Everybody else is just like, maybe. And then there's the group that's like, oh no, that's just like witchcraft or woo or whatever. But it's all reality. It's very science-based. The quantum field exists. There's no doubt about that. Scientists talk about it all the time. Einstein talked about it. But it's that the idea that we as individuals participate together and individually to make the reality that we all experience as a collective the more generally accepted reality that may or may not go down in history books. I don't even look at history books as like, it's just a perception that somebody had that they wrote down, or a story that's been told over and over again. It may or may not be real.
Yeah,
Who
50
knows?
years of history books now. I think you can find about 1,000 to now maybe 2,000 variations on everything. Depends which group you're asking to do the interpreting. So all the language is opposite of the language from last week. But back to the big picture, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, talking about just the consciousness that's already here and now.
Mhm.
Ram Dass, I think a lot of people have pointed to this over time. And even angels have said, look, a new, or Jesus has said, I think it was 2014, I wrote this down, a new consciousness emerges.
Mhm.
Details are not so important. Love is love. You simply have to be open and embrace it. That's it. And so what we're talking about here is there's a kind of a collective just gentleness and
Mhm.
awareness. That's the opposite. You're love when you're here. You're aware. What else am I looking for? Timeless, limitless. You have no limits.
Mhm.
But when you think, anytime you think anything, you're cutting yourself off from the bigger artistic flow, athletic flow, love flow. You being you, you be you, Scotty P. We're the Millers. And so up here is stress-based, fear-based, but we'll do it as rejecting, reacting, resisting. That's generally what happens when you turn on the
Mhm.
TV, if it's news. Pick CNN, MSNBC, and Fox or whoever. And it doesn't really matter because you're going to, I guarantee you, there isn't a person walking around in America that doesn't have a defined set of principles and perspectives. And I guarantee you they can't turn on the TV for a whole hour and not react to something and be like, wow, that person's a jerk, or I disagree with that, or this. And that's the whole, what you were talking about, the name of the game. So the more people can learn to be here, just 7% less thinking a day, 7% more heart if we flip that pancake, more awareness. But what is that? Can you talk to us more about, well, what does it mean to be in your own authentic self?
It means allowing information to come into you without having to have an opinion about it. It's allowing Fox News or CNN or whoever it is that you have to like. I personally sometimes, when I'm visiting my dad, he likes to have the television on a lot, and I find myself getting these feelings like I just can't take it anymore. But you can train yourself to allow information to come in without having to have a feeling related to it. And feelings are generally based on thoughts. You have a thought, you have an opinion about that thought, and that generates an emotional reaction in your body. And if you recognize that, and it's, nobody does it all the time. Maybe Eckhart Tolle does it. Even he said, you can be as spiritual as you want until you go home and visit family. And then you'll find out just how spiritual you are.
I love that.
So it's really, the more we can focus on just existing in the moment and having the love expression flowing out of us, rather than having all of these other emotions that are producing chemical reactions in your body. Every time you have an emotion, it's a chemical response to some thought that you've had an opinion about. If you can allow yourself or train yourself to have thoughts without thinking about those thoughts, then you can really control the chemical reactions that happen in your body. You can lower your cortisol, you can lower your stress hormones, you can lower the things that are stimulated by fear, which is just false evidence appearing real, so that you can enjoy the moment, which is really all life is about, is having a good moment now, experiencing now as lovely and beautiful, and letting that come out of you, rather than the stuff that can come out that doesn't really benefit anybody else.
Spoken like a sensei or East Asian master, because if you've mastered the moment, you've technically mastered everything else. And that is, if you're in your heart, if you're in the present moment, then anything you put your focus on, your love, or you could just call it awareness if you prefer that, or just consciousness itself. And then when you pick up the paintbrush, your painting's a little better than it was 5 minutes ago when you were up here reacting, resisting stress, worry, and fear. But that applies to Aikido. We had an Aikido champion out of, or a Aikido sensei, I should say. I'm going to make it up. Seventh dojo, seventh something. I'm going to forget all the lingo. I've forgotten it. But we had an incredible person who talked about how when you're here, you're relaxed, you're flexible. It's the only way you get to do the performance. And this applies to business. It applies to everything else. A barbecue. Do you want the person uptight, up in the brain? You want to hang out with the person who's really relaxed, laughing. The laugh is infectious. I think we can keep going with those analogies forever. Talk to us about your favorite self-help, woo-woo, spiritual experts over the years that you've really enjoyed, at least, whatever phase, if they've changed a lot, what books influenced you as you got onto this path. Later, we'll talk about how you get started with all this. But who has been your favorite? Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, Don Miguel Ruiz, all the above, plus some more?
All of them above. Probably the single most influential person that I came across was Marissa Pierce and her "You Are Enough" statement. I wrote it on my mirrors, and it was a great story. I wrote it in my bathroom mirror, "I am enough." And then my husband came by and wrote, "Me too." My daughter came by and wrote, "Oh yeah, we are all enough." So it was just like, it brought us closer. We had a laugh, but each of us embraced the idea that as individuals, we are enough. We have all we need. We always have enough. We've always had enough, and we will always have enough. And we are enough just by virtue of the fact that we exist. And I think our existence isn't determined by our physical being. I think our existence is uniquely entwined in the fabric of what we consider the universe. We are everything. Everything is us.
I love it. Okay. Do angels exist?
Absolutely.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Now, Do you have a story you can recount? You were 18. It was 28 2 years ago, and you're walking down the street, and this happened. Can you give us one of those times, or it was just more abstract, but you knew you got help from above, if you want to call that? I'll add that angels come in all shapes, sizes, colors, all sorts of backgrounds, and they live within you and around you, and they're just here to help. But think of it this way: no interference. What could be better for you than you having free will? Making your own decisions. Guess what you're doing every single day as it is already right now. How you spend your energies, how you spend it, where you put your focus is where you put your focus. But should anyone need extra help out there, it's just for the asking like that. Okay, Jill, where are you going to take us right now?
I'm going to take you to my special spot. My guides are Joan and the unicorns. And when I have a particularly stressful day, and I relate that as to a day that I spend too much in my head and not enough in my heart, I will lay down in bed at night, and I'll ask Joan to come and talk with me, and she'll bring the unicorns, and she'll just let me pet the unicorns. Not,
Oh,
it's such a special time for me, because all I'm doing is just focusing on petting these beautiful, magnificent creatures. It's like, get you back out of your head and into your heart, because if you talk to the average person, they're like, yeah, she's crazy. Unicorns don't exist, but I believe they do. And I believe they just exist in a reality that most people aren't willing to look at.
well,
Children look at
I'll
it.
join you right now in that. Look, there's a lot of dimensions, and there's a lot of existence that we're not. If you're, it's I know what it is. It's the what's the Tinkerbell series? It's not Robin Hood. It's Peter
Peter
Pan.
Pan.
So look at the beginning of every one of those movies or storybooks. The adults in the room, there's no way they're allowing for any of this. The kids have actually got a better handle and grip on reality than the rest of us, and
Mhm.
that's what we're kind of leading into with this. But I help people meet, hear, see fairies. I know there's some other types that exist. There's elemental. There's one jinn who's East Asian mysticism, who's the Energizer Bunny meets the Encyclopedia Britannica, petite, fine fellow. There's one shapeshifter, not to go crazy, but it's unconditional love shapeshifter, again, within East Asian mysticism background, who's very protective. Angels, of course, your loved ones are around. I think most people could agree on that, but a lot of times they'll be like ghosts. Uh, and it's even bigger than that. Galactic, I'll do the galactic thing. So, Angels in March, after 13 years of this, started to offer up their backgrounds. Charlotte said she has an Orion background. She might have been
Mhm.
Nefertiti in ancient Egypt, bringing compassion to the Egyptians. It doesn't matter what I think. I help people have a direct experience. So, if we grab 10 people, they each had a direct experience, they each had Egypt come to them like this, and they come back and they say, yes, that's the case. And if all 10 did it, I'd be like, okay, so the bottom line is, yes, we're putting a lot out there for the audience. I think this type of audience can handle it. What else do you want to share about how available the universe is, since we only have right now? It seems like it's pretty available. Jill, give us your patented response on all this.
I had a thought.
I didn't do
Reality. We were talking about angels and shapeshifters, and
no limits. And you get all the help in the world, all different types, willing to
okay.
help out. You have to put yourself out there, which just means going to the one place you don't want to go. Think of Peaceful Warrior, the gymnastics film. Nick Nolte played Sock.
Oh, remote
Yeah,
viewing.
there we
Thank
go.
you. Um, Remote viewing is a thing. There's lots of science behind it,
Yep.
where people accurately can travel to other places and tell you what's there.
Hmm.
And there's no way that rationally we can justify how it works, but we know that it does work. So if you can go terrestrially around the world, there's no reason why, when you're dreaming at night or when you're actually consciously doing remote viewing, that you can't go other places as well, other dimensions. I I've had personal experiences with intentions working. I was part of a group of 8 doing intentions. We'd meet once a week, and we'd hold an intention for 1 or 2 people. and I hit my thumb with a pneumatic nail gun, and the nail had hit my bone in my thumb. It hurt like the dickens, but it happened to be the same day that we were doing the intention. So we meet online in a space that doesn't exist. Like this video, I'm sitting in my home in Idaho, and you're sitting in your home in Texas, and we're meeting together in a space that does not exist, chatting with each other, sharing ideas and thoughts, but and smells
We're
and
about to do some
colors.
smells and some energy going through in a second, but finish the story.
So they held the intention for me. I mean, it was throbbing. I couldn't move it. I couldn't bend it. And after the intention, it was totally gone. All the pain was gone. I could bend it. And some people would say, "Oh, that's a miracle," but it's not. It's just moving energy. And we have that power. We have the power to create on a level that people have no idea. Some are waking up to it, and that's what excites me about doing my own podcast. Is just like I get to talk to these people that are, yeah, we can change the world. We can make the world a place where everybody's valued for their uniqueness, and they feel good about sharing who they are and what makes them them. And it just makes the whole fabric richer. Exciting to be.
For remote viewing, there's the Sean Ryan show, a former Navy SEAL who had one of the most famous remote viewers on, who's still alive. He's connected to the Monroe Institute. We'll leave that alone. Paul Sugar is a guest about 6 times on this show. He's taping his 3rd episode coming up. He's done 3 panels as well. We do mind, body, spirit panels. And Paul Sugar was a remote viewer in the Stargate program back in the day, 70s, but he got out pretty quick, maybe 6 months max. And it was only when it was Columbia, I think, University. It wasn't CIA officially at that point. And he is super talented, but he shared a lot of those experiences on the show. So people go back. The master list for the guest list, by the way, is at the website, my full name, michaelandreford.com. Just go to Angels, Positivity, and Love Show. You can see episode 1 from January of 2023 all the way right now to, I think it's episode 220 in May of 2025, coming up next year. Okay. I am going to blow some sage. We're going to make the point that everything is connected, that there is no time and space. Like I think Einstein would back us up. If we need to, we'll talk to Einstein in just a little bit. But I've done this as a staple on the show. People don't need to do much. Get out of your head and what you know for 5 seconds. Breathe through the mouth. Allow. What would you do in a football game? Think about catching the football or catch a football. Same thing for every other activity. You're going to think about hugging the dog, or you're going to hug the dog. Lighter, red-tailed hawk feather, some sort of rainbow shell that's cliche in the spiritual industry. I love it though, shiny. And then a crate and barrel tea light to hold the sage so I don't hurt the shell. I'm lighting some Juniper Ridge sage. I find it super consistent. I think you can get it in the Whole Foods. It's on my website. I'm not sponsored. I should be. And give yourself permission to let go. And that just means getting out of your head into your heart. Ask the universe angels to make it nice and to help you smell the sage. So angels, get me out of my head into my heart. Help me catch sage. Some people start tasting it. It's okay. You got a lot of ways you might feel the sage. You're already getting it in Idaho, Jill. And go for a triple tier tiramisu, no calories. So triple decored, layered, whatever that's called, a dessert. Sage, flowers, and get some ocean. Ask for flowers, get flowers. Why not? I don't have to have flowers in front of me for you to see to get flowers. Ask for flowers. Trust that the universe is that big that you can have a little flower smell. Why not? I love the expression, why not? I'm borrowing that from the India saint Sri Kaleshwar, who passed away at about age 42 about 12 years ago. Okay, why not? What a great way to challenge yourself. And there's a few other versions of that that are pretty cool. Jill, are you getting any flowers as well? What flowers
Yeah,
are
I
you?
get hibiscus.
Yay, I didn't do it, but we were talking about Hawaii before the show because you went to Hawaii Pacific University. You've been in Hawaii before, and we were catching the scent of ocean in the air, I believe, before the show. So I'm going to blow through this microphone that's off camera and catch a little bit of Hawaii in the air around you. If you don't mind us switching from Oahu, but if you want Oahu, get Oahu. We'll do Maui. Catch a little sea spritz on the nose. People at home, close your eyes if you need extra help. I'll do it one more time. but you get a quick dad joke. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. And if you're laughing, you're letting go. Congratulations, you do it all day long. You get a little Hawaii in the air, Jill.
Mhm.
Blame Canada. Don't blame Idaho. Don't blame me. Don't blame Hawaii. Get Hawaii. Why wouldn't you want a little extra pizzazz in your step, in your energy field? 1 + 1 = 111. We all know our math. Okay, Jill, put us back on track. What is the lesson here for us all with stuff like this to just allowing more, loving more, and being very surprised with how life responds?
Spend more time observing your thoughts rather than having opinions about them.
Hmm.
I just allow yourself to wonder a little bit. I wonder why I thought that. I wonder I wonder how that's serving me. I wonder how I could look at that thought in a way that made my now the best it could possibly be, even if I have to tell myself a different story about what it means. It doesn't matter what you tell yourself about what things mean. They can mean anything you want them to mean. You may as well make them mean stuff that's going to benefit you and benefit others that you come in contact with.
I love your powerful, authentic voice, Jill. You're getting a big compliment right now. Okay, I'm going to do Eckhart Tolle's version of all this, which technically is what you're referring to, but there's other versions as well. And I know he's been a big influence. We both like him. Tolle said, ego implies unawareness. So when you're up here, there's no way you can be half pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant, or you're either in the hot shower enjoying it or not. Or if somebody cut the hot water off, I get it. Ego implies unawareness. Awareness down here and ego cannot coexist. It's one of the or the other. I'll also do it another way. I'm going to give you 4 random quotes and get your reaction from this. You can run with one. You can reject 2 of them. I'm kidding. They're fun quotes. It could be Herman Melville. It could be Gary Zukav, Tolle, Angels, Winnie the Pooh. Could be anybody. Here's Dull Knife's a Native American chief who's unconditional love. Here's his quote: trust more, worry less. There's no such thing as silence. There's only stillness. Make it 2 with deep quotes like this. Just 2 more. What's the difference between thinking and awareness? Charlotte and Angel said, knowing versus unknowing. Knowing versus unknowing, or it's the other way around on this. It could be both. Conditional versus unconditional love. Conditional love, unlove versus unconditional love. One more. Gary Zukav, Seat of the Soul. I'm a sucker for this quote. I'll put it on all year long, as many shows as I can. I don't care who knows. Don't criticize me for this. You change the way that you shape the light, which is flowing through you, by changing your consciousness. Now, it's kind of all
That
interconnected,
sums the whole thing up, our whole conversation right there, that quote.
but keep going with it. We got to wind you up, bam, and you got to tell us more because you have this authentic inner presence. And when you unleash it, you make a lot of sense. Where are you taking us next?
It's all about light and allowing light to flow through you instead of stopping it in your head and letting, for some reason, we as human beings, we think that this is all that exists. We think our soul is up here. We think our mind is up here, but we're not. We're whole. Our souls take up the space that's kind of, I don't even think it's inside. I think it's kind of around us. And it's expressed as light and energy. And um the more that you're open to just letting it flow instead of stopping it here, the more that you're whole and the more that you contribute um to the bigger light that's out there. And the more you can't, a little light lights up darkness. And the more that we come together and allow our light to be a collective light, the more the darkness is pushed off and the more that everyone it can experience the wonders and joy of existence, because really that's what life is about, is having joy and having a an experience. Yeah, having an experience.
Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell, and you can meet Joe. He got an A+ for his life path. He didn't meet angels while he was here, but he did everything else. And that interview with Bill Moyers, who spoke at my college graduation at Middlebury up in Vermont in 1990, Bill Moyers interviews him at the Lucas Studios, and he says just that. I think we're here to have an experience. I think that's what it's all about. And it was just beautiful. But again, let's do some light. I'm going to put up a background, and the blue sky is number one. A shut off TV is kind of number 3 or 4. There's no right or wrong way. If you're cocky about this, you can just see light on your dog. If I had a dog here, she's left now through the open French doors. But you can see light on everything. Everything is consciousness. You can see that light. And guess what? I hate to break it to every single viewer. You're already doing it all day long. The whole thing she just talked about, it blocks it. And yet you're using, we'll call it the breadcrumb trail from seeing that light to make your decisions. You didn't like the look of that diner, but it was more the feel energetically, subconsciously that helped you make that decision. It wasn't the look necessarily. Mm-hmm. And also the way it worked in the supermarket. 2 men arguing by the milk section in front of that door. You needed to get the milk, but you're like, oh, that's a lot of energy over there. I'm going to go get the vegetables first. Anyhow, they're not refrigerated. I'll get the refrigerated last. They'll be gone by then. I'll be okay to get the milk. You're operating artists, musicians, good business people who really do pay attention to how the room works. A cocktail party for fundraising, you name it, you're using it night and day all the time. It's how you surf your channels. I'm going to use this as a background, Celestine prophecy method, but as one guest pointed out in the 1970s, before that movie existed, they were still doing it this way. In India, they do it this way, but it's going to be awkward this way. I love it this way, but I'm going to stand, I'm going to show you my light. You don't have to show me yours, Jill. But the bottom line is, just say what you're seeing out loud. It'll be white, blue, gold, green, 16 colors at once. But if anybody wants to go crazy, ask for an angel to make a heart or fireworks sparkle. See it one way, just normal. I love that I said that. A little film and a wisp of light. But I'll tell a dad joke. As you're laughing, you're letting go extra. Why wouldn't you want to see a butterfly come off of that? Why wouldn't you want to see flares, sparks that you know isn't necessarily my flow? It's angels doing something extra to make your day. And I don't mean Clint Eastwood way. I mean nice way. Okay, here we go. So here's the dad joke. Where in a hospital is the worst place to play hide and seek? Where? In the ICU. And just see what you can see. No triota. Jill, what are you seeing between my fingers?
It's a yellow light. You have a yellow glow around you all the time. Anyway.
Yay. And could it be a little bit of gold in there?
It's gold. Yeah, it's a gold yellow. I
Good.
I normally see auras, so I mean, this was not like a trick question.
Yeah. And then what I'll do is this for folks at home who feel like they still need some help. Because look, I can remember when a guy took a bundle of sage, like Julia Childs would hold a whisk. If anybody remembers Julia Childs from like the 80s, premier chef on the globe, tons of books, tons of presents, tons of everything. But this guy is like a shaman / something else. And he's there to clear out my property. And I know who he is in real life. And I didn't know he had this background, but he just takes a whole bundle of sage. I don't have a bundle of sage around. And for me, a bundle of sage, I can make it last a year. I just take a little bit at a time, put it in that dish that you saw. He just takes the whole thing like a whole bit of corn, just lights the whole sucker on fire. And I'm like, oh my God, not shy at all. By him holding it, it felt like I was watching the greatest Ginsu chef, sushi chef, iron chef. He knew what he was doing. He started at the corner of the property, saged the whole property, but before he closed it off, he asked a 13-year-old girl to come over and to put her hand out and to feel, before he connected it, what it was like before, and then he closed it off, what it was like after. Now, I stumble over as an adult, probably in my 30s, 42, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, later over a candle for weeks, I'm like, okay, not burning my hand, but does my hand work? Yeah, I feel heat. Okay. So I'm like, how's this work? There's energy. What's this all about, Alfie? So he closed it off and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. So people at home who want to see some light, here's a regular Bic lighter. Name any color you normally see. Jill, can we borrow you? Gold, white, orange?
Yeah. White, orange, yeah.
But now here's 3 angels. We haven't done the angels yet. We're about to. There's Joy, Charlotte, Min, 3 angels. If you've watched the show, you've seen them a lot. Guess you can see them over my shoulder. Although I just had a guest actually who saw my guardian angel right here in this office. I so love the living room because there's a lot more distance. The brain needs the living room versus a short space. You need further away. You need a stepping stone like this. So you've seen some color from a normal Bic lighter. Now ask angels of the universe to make something extra that you know can't be the Bic lighter. So you're seeing a flare of extra, I don't know if it's red, but how about blue, purple, pink, something we know can't be a Bic lighter. But if people at home could do something to break their structure, go in a circle, don't go in a fire circle, ask the universe to get in here, ask angels to get you out of your head into your heart. It's your heart doing the seeing. That's like all those Disney movies. Your heart's seeing the actual character, the true nature of what's in front of you. Okay, that's it. Give yourself a break. One more dad joke. What's the only flower found on the human face? I'm lucky I'm not doing it over here. Tulips. Iris was another answer somebody gave. Tulips, duh. Now, ask for extra light. You getting any sparkle, explosions, fireworks, anything extra from Joy? Ask her to do pink light flare. People play this over and put a comment how eloquent Jill is. She's very succinct when she talks. She's speaking from authentic presence. Jill, what did you see?
Pink.
Now they got to trust us on that one. That's okay. I'm going to put up Joy herself. She's like the cosmos. She's kind of everywhere at once. Global slipstream. You just have to pay attention, slow way down, take a breath, and listen or see or whatever you want to do. But trust me, the rat race up here will never permit it. You got a million other things to do. What are you getting from Joy, Jill, for the audience?
Relax. Don't take life so seriously.
And that's that whole releasing from the burden, the ancient burden of self-importance. We do it whether we're experiencing failure or we're experiencing too much success. Okay, Charlotte's the next one. Everybody's favorite teacher from third form if you live in Canada, third grade if you're stateside, with words meant to help you expand. She's a sweetie, not Mrs. Johansson who got you in detention week after week after week, but Mrs. Wilson, the nice one. What are you getting, Jill?
Look with your heart, not your eyes.
And Jules Verne had one, see with all of you or something like that. That was probably the balloon story or the submarine one. I forgot. Let's do some more quotes. I'll come back to angels and you can pick a couple figures if you want. But here we go. We're going to go. Hopefully I do this right. Okay, here's one. Karen Armstrong. Haven't done her before ever, but she's been around for a while. If we want to create a viable, peaceful world, we've got to integrate compassion into the gritty realities of 21st century life. Can you talk to us about that? Einstein said it with, we're going to need a whole new form of thinking if mankind is to survive. What's your, that's worth stopping right there. Full stop. What do we need to know about this whole, we need some more gentleness, kindness right now?
It's all about frequency. And Einstein did speak to that also in terms of medicine, even that we were going to have to rearrange how we interacted with the physical world. We exist and we don't exist. And because we are all just energy. And if you look at a molecule or an atom, we used to think that, we were taught that an electron was this little dot that went around in circles, kind of like the solar system, as we're explained, that the solar system exists. But we found that that's simply not true. An electron is a wave and it exists and it interacts and with things next to it. Like, so the skin, I like to do this exercise sometimes at night when petting the unicorns doesn't work. I'll lay there and I'll try to imagine where my skin and the air around it begin and end, because they don't. The electrons are always moving back and forth. It's chemistry. It's how things come together. It's like water. Water's a molecule. It's a bent molecule, and it connects with other molecules. And when they're not vibrating really fast or fast enough, they clump together and there's still space. That's why ice cubes float. It's because there's space in there. And when they start vibrating a little faster frequency, then you have water. And when they get really excited, they separate from each other and you get water vapor. Life is like that. It exists, but it doesn't. It's just all all a matter of how things are vibrating, the frequency that they're vibrating at. And one more piece of information in there, you have two tuning forks. If you start one going and the other one you just hold, it will start vibrating at the frequency that you struck the first one at.
Mm.
People are the same way. You get around people that are on this really great love frequency, and you're going to vibrate on that really good love frequency. And that's my plea to everyone is let's all try to get in that frequency and stay there, because the more of us that want to vibrate at that frequency, it makes the other frequencies that are available to us. I mean, black is a color. It's maybe the absence of color, but it is something that we perceive. Um, but we don't have to live there. We can choose to live in the myriad of other colors that bring us pleasure and make the world better.
Joy said your laughter, talking about any of us, just laughing and being at peace. Your laughter is hope and healing for others. And I like that a lot. Also, I'm going to slaughter this name, the author. I've got the book up there somewhere. The whole Messages in Water book, Emoto. What's his name? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, but he's
Yep.
passed away. But Angels the other day made the point, if you, and I, whether you like the word prayer or you like the word words through the heart, the point is setting your intention, flowing light as consciousness, Gary Zukav said in that quote, you can flow your light into water before you drink it and set your intent. That's an entirely new concept for me in 2024 that we're in now. So can we please get a full stop here for the audience? Type a comment up. We're about to hit 500,000 visitors to the channel. We have a super small footprint, though, audience-wise still. That doesn't mean you're not amazing. You've got big footprints. But we got a huge guest list. This is unbelievable for the opposite. Like a tiny little show has big guests. Why? Gee, I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe it's the sage, or something. Blame Canada or blame the universe. Let's blame angels instead. Let's just do a punny way of taking all that. So talk to your water. It's going to sound like talking to unicorns, but Jill will tell you it's legit, and Jill will tell you it's legit for the water. Setting your intent. Go for it.
I have one more part about that. Yes, you definitely should bless your water. Just talk good words over it. But it's also why you should speak good words over your children and your spouse and everyone you come in contact with, because we're 90% water, 99% water. I don't know, some incredible number. And when there's science behind talking to your plants, it's because they're mostly water. I have a tree that I thought was dead. I transplanted it from this other house that I lived in, and I loved this tree, and I put it in my backyard over here, and it looked like it was dead, and I was so sad. And I touched it, and what you were talking about, there's a spirit that lives in trees, but I can't remember the name of them, but I was holding on to it and talking to it because I talk to my trees. I have like 100 trees in my backyard, and my backyard's small. I'm growing this forest, and it's so yummy. But I'm talking to the tree and pleading with it to please live. And its root system had gotten chewed up really bad. But I put it near these other baby trees that this mama tree is feeding. And they're growing into magnificent trees. But anyway, I was out there. It had been there in the ground for like 3 or 4 weeks, and my husband was mowing the lawn, and I was looking at it. I was mowing with the push mower, thinking, oh, I'm just gonna have to pull it out. And I was so sad. And I went over and I put my hand on it, and I looked up, and there were little leaves, not just like one leaf, but a whole bunch of little leaves had sprouted out on the tree. I was just like, yes.
I have two more angels for you. There's a Mac, don't call her Mackenzie. Everything plants, animals, and nature. But first, we'll do Min, who we did not put up before. Minwala, soft spoken professor, light waves of energy and water. Min is the Lakota Sioux word for water, like Minnesota. Get something from her as a reminder to us all. So far, so good on the topics we've covered. Min is like thumbs up.
Trees draw water to them, like underground water.
And I'll do Mac. Don't call her Mackenzie. Everything plants, animals, nature. She mentioned she's got a Pleiadian background / Orion way back when as part of her origin story. Angel today. People can just see angels out their window if that's a far enough distance, with or without wings. It doesn't matter. What are you getting from Mac?
It has something to do with the universe exploding. I don't.
Hopefully exploding with love. I'll just ad lib there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it's definitely yellow and
have Charlotte do translating for you.
love flows out.
There we go. Hey, folks, by the time you see this, we've already exploded, so that's not the point of the message of the thing. It's
No,
love, love,
no.
love, love, love. Did I say love? I'm yelling love. I don't care who hears me. I think I'm borrowing from Elf. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to put my hand up. We're going to connect only with our highest intent, not the side of us that says my problem is, my situation is, my drama is. You don't understand my situation, Jill. I got 95 kids. I'm on my sixth divorce in 6 weeks. I make bad decisions. I'm bad. And I've got this, that, and welcome to the fruit stand. That is us being human with a ton of issues and everything else. I'm shocked. There's gambling going on in this casino, Casablanca, the movie. Okay, but I'm going to put my hand up. You're going to do your highest intent quietly right now. Set your intent at home, your highest intent. And for years to come, it's only love and above with this exercise. Jill and I are not getting anything 5 years from now. It's only love and consciousness. We got angels watching over this exercise. If you have any questions, ask them a question. Joy, Mac, and Charlotte. I'm going to whoosh you rainbow light. So if you don't mind connecting with your palm up, what are you feeling right now as we first connect? Is it cool? Is it hot, sparkly? Is it joyful?
Isn't it cool?
Good. And breathe, 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 breathe. With this hand, you're getting whooshed with universal rainbow light. We're going to blame angels, not Canada, not Idaho, not you. But here it comes. But I'll blow through the microphone that's again off camera with Hawaii breeze. Again, blame angels. And we're going to do it 3 times: low, medium, and high. The more you breathe, the more you let go. Don't worry about the high yet. We'll get there. Just get the experience up your back or in the room for some rainbow light. Here we go. Feel what you can feel at home. Don't judge. What'd you get, Jill?
Tingles.
Yay. Now go medium. So ask your angels to pull the covers off the sports car. You don't have to drive it around yet, but just pull the covers off. Enjoy the look. Here comes the next one. Feel a little more on that one. I'm still going up. There we go. Okay, Jill, how was that one? A little bigger?
Yep.
Okay, now rainbow light. People, go ahead. You got a term paper you got to finish this weekend. You're screwed. Ask for universal help. You've pulled a rabbit out of the hat before. Why not let the universe help? Let those fingers do a lot of typing, and good luck with that. Or you got to run a marathon on Sunday. Whatever it is, we got a million of those situations, trillions. Here comes the third and the last one. Go big, go home. Guess what? Most of you are home, so let's go big. Here comes 2 breaths, though, through the microphone. Catch Hawaii in the air. You may not have ever been there before you, but it's going to be exotic and fun and aquatic. Here we go. Feel the energy up your back. And breathe, 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 breathe for the last little. What'd you get, Jill, on that one? Bigger?
Yeah, really big.
Good, but now you got to use your words. Did you see colors on your eyelids? Did you feel chakra movement up and down the old Kundalini Express on the back? What was happening?
I I felt like I was on the beach in Hawaii. There's a special smell that beaches on Hawaii have that are different than everywhere else. It's kind of coconutty and saltwatery, and it just, yeah.
Tell us a
It
little bit
was,
more about the
and
Hawaiian. Yeah, the
the
concept of
sunlight and the
give us the concept of Hawaii, the highest vibe, because it's like anywhere else. There's different vibrations there. Tell us the high end and why it always brings a little sparkle to your eye.
it it was a place where I was a lifeguard on the beach. It was a kind of a private beach. So it wasn't packed all the time. But when I was alone, I could just look out into the ocean and connect with probably men, because just like the water, and there's smells, and then the people would come and they would slather on their coconut sunscreen, and which I think was just baby oil with coconuts and some of that stuff. But it just, smells can make you feel different ways. And it always has made me feel happy and joyful and connected in a way that it doesn't mean that there's people, but just connected to the bigger universal frequency. It's like plugging in to the grid, but not the grid, but the frequency grid that is existence.
Mother Teresa once had an amazing expression about Hawaii. I'll keep that a little private. She just talked about how, one of the islands was a real jewel heart of just the flow, but it doesn't matter which one. It's all Hawaii and it's amazing. So here's Mother Teresa. Here's something sparkly and upbeat from her, whether it's generic and about life itself, a reminder for us all. And what are you getting?
I'm getting a story. It's a memory.
Can you sum it up in short? What would be the gist of it? Love or something else?
My biggest experience with Mother Teresa is connected to a gentleman named Steve Coffey, Captain Coffey. He was a, a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War, but he was a really amazing human being when it came to just existing in the now and taking bad experiences and remembering them in a way that really helped the people that he came in contact with. And he spent most of the rest of his life. He was my neighbor. I knew his sons when we lived in Hawaii. And when I lived in San Diego years later, I went to one of Tony Robbins' first um, get together things. And there were maybe 50, 100 people in the room at the most. I mean, that's how long ago this was. And he got up on stage and he started talking about Mother Teresa and Steve Coffey. And I will always connect the two.
Oh, that's no accident. And here's a Joshu or Zen saying, if you want to say it that way, from 700 AD, if I got it right. Again, another one of those books, I can't remember the name, but the translator was Green, was the last name. It was the sayings of Joshu. But what about it when the blind turtle finds the plank? And the answer is it was no accident. So we had no accidents with that. I do have another area for you. I'm going to give you two more quotes. This is straight from Angels, Jesus, Mary, Muhammad. There's three categories: ego, compassion, or big picture of mankind. Can you tell me, give me a column here: ego, compassion, or mankind, big picture? Quick.
Mankind.
And then could you pick a number between 1 through 5?
5.
Okay. Sarah and Angel about big picture stuff said, like, how can we all consciously expand more? How about the world? How about, mankind? Stop creating unneeded drama and conflict, regarding day-to-day stress. So that's kind of a generic advice. Let me do it a different way.
I can go with that
Okay, go with it. Then there was no
because
accident.
it was no accident because we're constantly creating.
Oof.
And I think the gist of what Sarah is saying is that you can create something that's going to be a pleasurable experience for yourself, or you can create something that's not going to be so pleasurable. No matter what, you are creating. We are constantly creating. So she's just saying, pay attention to what you're creating. Stop doing the bad stuff.
Oh, I love it. Okay, couple more of these. There's an angel named Heather talking about ego. Ego creates so many unneeded false hopes and expectations. Kind of tangential to what you were saying.
Yep. It's just that when you're in your head, you're all about the how's it going to happen, and I got to make this happen, and I've got to do this, and the shoulds. A friend of mine says, stop shitting on yourself.
Oh.
So it's about getting into your whole being authentically you, accepting who you are. I mean, it's just matter what you look like or what you sound like or any of the extrinsic things that are around you. It's all about just existing in the now in the best way possible for yourself and for others.
And I have a passage for you I'm going to read from a book called Listening to Angels. If anybody thought I wrote this thing, you've got to be kidding me. I saw balls of light as I was typing, and this is not how I talk. But thank you if anybody thinks that. So, why is being, and this is how we'll wrap it up, is going back to just the concept of being, to be, well, to be, to or not to be, Shakespeare, or yeah, doing by being by doing, or doobie doobie doo. Here comes the passage from Listening to Angels on Amazon. Why is being the key to all of this? Being is believing in all. This is a bunch of angels talking to us. You do not need to be like anyone else. Be you. Smile more, think less. Do not permit others to dictate your well being. Own your own being in life. Love more and allow more. You can be happy now in this very moment without a single reason. Again, this is why it's not about words or concepts, which are often just another form of egoic thinking. Always keep releasing so as to not allow walls to be rebuilt. Ego. What to release exactly is never that important. Those are more mere details. Keep releasing. Ego likes to judge everything and build walls. Ego likes to offer knowing with a capital K as a form of false security. Step away from this and return to a peaceful life. Follow your own path in life, one step at a time. Enjoy it. Let go of perfectionist or defined behaviors such as roles. Embrace the awesome life given to you and each one of us. Just be. Listen to everything, for everything around you is always your instruction. Love isn't everything. Open your eyes to find love. There's only one life, not two. Be in the moment. Compassion is within all too. There are just many levels of awareness in man. Everyone can grow. Let go to expand your own awareness level. See how when you let go, you become lighter and free. Your energy brightens and you feel alive. Believe, trust this is so and it will be so. This is what faith, religious and non religious, is all about. Not knowing in life while letting go and loving. Compassion to others happens only when it's first applied by you to yourself to release your ego and embrace more openness and love in the now. Find compassion in all that you see, breathe compassion into all that you do, believe in all, and be loved to all. And know that we angels are here for you always. We are here not just in name, but in action. Use us. What would be one request you'd ask angels generically? Just all the help in the world on this situation over here, or breathing easier? What's a request, Jill, in front of everybody, but abstract it so nobody can know what the heck you're talking about? Do you have a request for angels right now? And at home, I encourage everybody to do the same thing. Pick a topic, make a fist. This is being in the brain, thinking you know something about something, and then open up, let go your details, but ask for all the love and light to get those details taken care of, because we still think that we got to do stuff to deal with the details. So, Jill, do you have an area you just want to walk a smoother path in life? How about that?
Just in general, incorporating all that you just read, which you could have just read that and we could have been done.
Oh, yeah, but no, we don't have a show then, and we got to hear you talk. And you're getting the bad
It
news
just
now.
said it so
Yep.
much better than I did.
No,
But it was the same message.
we are going to want, you've got the professionalism of all the show coaching and the show hosting. So you're wrapping it up for us here on the how do you combine compassion, a little less thinking, a little more fun, a little more laughter, a little more joy. And I'll give you a hint by holding up two of your favorite angels today, Joy and Charlotte. They'll give you a couple cues as if you're out on the round stage, Shakespearean theater in London, and they're whispering from behind the curtain. How do you think artists, how do you think actors get their inspiration? Where do you think that little voice is coming from a third of the time in your life? If you're playing golf, you're on the 16th hole, you're crushing it in the local tournament, you've never done this well before. And that little voice says, let's crank it. Like you don't say crank it for golf, but let's go for the hole in one a little harder on this stroke. I know I can do it. I'm going to boop, and I'm going to seal in the victory a hole, a couple holes early. Well, if your great grandmother came in, or Archangel Michael, Joy, or Mother Teresa, you would freak out, drop the club, and probably leave the club to go get your head checked. So, no one wants to startle you here, but this is all more available for all of us. I bought you all the time in the world, Jill. You're wrapping up the show. You're on.
I the message that I got is that we should all be more like children. It just, enjoy the wonder of the experiences that you encounter every single day. We all have miracles happen to us all the time, but we tend to not slow down and say, "Oh, wow, look at that." When you find a penny on the road, that's a little miracle. It's a promise of future riches. When you see your tree come to life when you thought it was dead, that's a big miracle. When your kid comes up and gives you a hug and just crawls in your lap and wants to just be with you, embrace it. Love the now, loving what is. I think Byron Kelly says that. It just like, don't try to make things more difficult than they have to be. Just let them be and enjoy it. Choose to enjoy it. And therein lies the rub.
And the opportunity for us all, because growth and expansion never stop, no matter how much adulting, how much success or failure that we've had, and no matter how much we try, because it ain't about trying. No try Yoda, always try Archangel Gabriel. It's actually not about the words, it's not about this, but it is about love and above. So maybe it is about that. Okay, Jill Hart, you've been fantastic on the show. Thank you for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Absolutely wonderful hearing you in action.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael. I always enjoy chatting with you and your friends.
Absolutely.